What's going on, guys? Steve here. I am a self-diagnosed MMA scrapaholic. I'm coming to you to go over Saturday night's fight, UFC 312, Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland 2, Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. It was in Sydney, Australia. It was a great fight card, to be honest. I think 7.5, 8 out of 10 was probably fair. The prelims, early prelims were on fire for those of you who missed the early prelims because you guys are too cool to watch them. Started watching fights at 3 p.m. Well, you missed out, and I think you should go back and watch them. Performance of the night: Quillian Saul Kidd for his KO against Ashal Jubilee, one-punch knockout. I actually am going to highlight it here later. It was worth the performance of the night. Second performance of the night: Taliesin Teixeira. He KOs Justin Tafa. Again, another like one-hit KO. It was an elbow, this one. And then fight of the night: Rong Zhu versus Cody Steele. Back and forth, 3-round brawl. Love to see it. Both guys just rocking each other, rocking soft robots. Cody Steele getting the worst of it by far, but showing heart, not going for a takedown, not trying to implement jiu-jitsu in the fight. And yeah, even did the 10-second Max Holloway throwdown. It was a great fight. Anyways, UFC 312 recap. Let's get into it. All right, guys, UFC 312 prelims. First fight of the prelims, Alexander Topuria, a highly anticipated debut of this fighter, being Ilia Topuria's brother, the featherweight champion, against Colby Thickness, another debut fighter. This took place bantamweight division. Cool little story about Colby Thickness with Alexander Volkanovski in his corner, and then Alexander Topuria with Ilia Topuria in his corner. So bit of a corner rivalry there, right? Colby Thickness, had some good combos. Was switching up his attacks, but Alexander Topuria, man, with that defensive boxing style, just picking his punches correctly. His accuracy was through the roof. He was fighting just like his brother. Ended up taking the unanimous decision win. I thought it was probably 1-1 going into the third round, but it looks like all the judges had it 2-0 for Topuria going into the third, and then Topuria just took him down and held top control for the whole round. But Colby Thickness, man, he was attacking nonstop from the bottom, which you love to see in a fighter, and even right to the end of the bell, he didn't seem tired and stuff. So I think both these guys, bright UFC futures. Excited to see both of them fight again. Next fight, Wang Kong versus Bruno Brazil. Wang Kong, dominant performance by the Chinese. Not much to talk about in that fight. Next fight was a lightweight division. Tom Nolan taking on Slavic Laws. Tom Nolan took this one unanimous decision. It was a good fight. It was mostly Tom Nolan. Slavic Laws couldn't really get his boxing going. Tom Nolan kind of pressed the pressure a little, maybe too much for him. The grappling, Tom Nolan was superior there. When it did go, actually, Tom Nolan was on his back at one point, and it was a pretty even because he was landing some sick up kicks. And then even when Slaviklaus got on top, they were just standing there like on the ground trading blows. It was pretty kind of a weird position, but it was cool to see. Featherweight belt next, Jack Jenkins, Gabriel Santos. Bit of a heartbreaker for Jack Jenkins. Lands this beautiful head kick in the first round that drops Gabriel Santos, but he just couldn't get the finish. Gabriel Santos came back, had him in a gross triangle choke in the first round after getting dropped. Couldn't finish it. Props to Jack Jenkins for muscling out of that. I thought it was over. Makes it to the third round, but Gabriel Santos, his grappling, his pressure was just too much for Jack Jenkins. Jenkins couldn't get any of his leg kicks, any of his striking going. He's known for his leg kicks. He's broken 3 or 4 of his opponent's legs with kicks. And Gabriel Santos was able to sink in the rear naked choke and get the submission win in the third round. All right, guys, on to the main event of UFC 312. Up first, welterweight division, Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. This fight kind of played out how I thought. I thought it was going to be a 3-round kind of war. I didn't think anyone was going to get finished, but Jake Matthews, I think with his experience, fought a little bit smarter with his striking. And they were both kind of in the pocket, both throwing crazy hooks that were just skimming by each other's faces that had knockout potential, but were just kind of out of range. It was an exciting fight because if one of those connected, then you would have had a big reaction by the other guy. But regardless, win all 3 rounds, unanimous decision. Who should Jake Matthews fight next? You know what? I like his call out. He called out Neil Magny. I think it's a good one. I think Neil, unfortunately is probably at the end of his career. Should probably really consider retiring. Hasn't looked too great in his last few fights. But I think Jake Matthews is the perfect test for Neil Magny to see if he's still got it, if he can still hang in the welterweight division in the UFC. So make it happen. Good. All right, guys. Next fight, light heavyweight belt: Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute coming back off about like a 2-year layoff. He was 0-3-1. Kind of felt like maybe in a must-win position, taking on Rodolfo Bellato. This fight was kind of crazy. The first round, Jimmy Crute like dominated, almost had Bellato out multiple times, rocked him, was reckoning with ground and pound, but Rodolfo Bellato just hung on, which it ended up being a 10-8 round in 2 of the judges' scorecards, which with Rodolfo had a big comeback second round, big comeback third round. I think Jimmy Crute, man, he just maybe blew a little too much of his energy in the first round. Was too tired, couldn't keep up with Rodolfo, who got his second win, second, third rounds. So Rodolfo ended up winning second, third rounds on all 3 Georgia scorecards, but with the 10-8 in the first round, this fight ended as a majority draw. Unfortunately, Jimmy Crute, this is his second time fighting to a draw in his last 5 fights. Last time, Jimmy Crute drew with Alonzo Manfield. They made the rematch happen right away. You know what? I think I like it again. Maybe these guys just fight again. It would seem like a pretty even match. I know Bellato kind of took in the second and third rounds, but Jimmy Crute looked so good in the first round. I think run it back and see what happens. All right, we got the big boys up next. Heavyweight bout: Justin Tafa versus Taliesin Teixeira. Guys, we get what we wanted. You know, big boys, we want to see first round KOs every time. Justin Tafa, Taliesin Teixeira didn't disappoint. Taliesin Teixeira pushed him up against the cage, landed a huge elbow. Justin Tafa crumples, and the fight's over. There was some argument from Justin Tafa, but man, just you can't fall like that. We seen that in the first fight of the night. I think I got the performance of the award with his one-punch knockout. When you fall like a sack of rocks, the ref is just going to go and stop that fight, and he's just reacting to his reflexes. So, yeah, Justin Tafa maybe could have fought on, but I think it was a good stoppage. So, Taliesin Teixeira wins KO first round. Where does he go from here? Well, at least I think when you debut with such an impressive performance, you kind of skyrockets you a little bit faster. I think the winner of Kenny Nzechukwu versus Martin Boudet coming up in April could be a good fight for him, but if he's looking to get matched up right away, I think Rodrigo Nascimento. He's coming off 2 losses, but they're against Derek Lewis and Alexander Romanov, 2 big names. Yeah, so I think that would be a good test for Rodrigo and Taliesin. So, yeah, I think that's a good fight. All right, we go into the co-main event: Magnum Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez, strawweight championship bout. Happy for Tatiana Suarez finally get her shot at the belt. She's suffered with cancer issues. She's had injury issues, and I've always thought she was probably going to be champ one day. Fortunately, during her time, there is Weili Zhang, who is arguably the best MMA fighter in female MMA right now. Tatiana Suarez, arguably the best wrestler in female MMA. It was cool to see how this match was going to get paired up. But Weili Zhang showed that there's more to MMA than just wrestling, and actually was pretty impressive about how easily she shut down the wrestling of Suarez. Suarez suffered a nasty cut on her knee going for a takedown and hit it actually off the cage, which was kind of unfortunate. I don't know how much that really affected her performance in this fight, but regardless, Weili Zhang, she dominated. She did her thing. She looked like classic Weili Zhang. Going forward, took a unanimous decision. Going forward, man, what's next for Weili Zhang? Is there anyone in this division that even looks like they might give her a problem? Rose is out of the division. She never really did get her redemption against Rose. I don't know if that's a fight she wants, but I think the fight that really makes sense is Valentina Shevchenko. Weili Zhang, she can move up, take on Shevchenko. I think it makes sense for both fighters because they're both so dominant that no one in either of those divisions really even look like they're going to give them a problem. Make them fight each other. Makes sense. All right, guys, we are on to the main event. Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland, middleweight title belt. I think the fight kind of overall played out how most people thought. They probably thought this was going to be a 5-round decision fight. Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland staying to their word that they were going to just have a stand-up fight. I know Dricus did go for that takedown. He just said it was there. It was the end of the round, didn't get it. It was an okay fight. I kind of was hoping Sean Strickland was going to come out, push the pace a little bit more, maybe get a little bit aggressive. I think he maybe kind of let this one get away from him like he did the last one. Fortunately, too, he suffered that really badly broken nose in round 4, I think. But the guy's such a man. He resets his nose himself and just keeps fighting. Dricus du Plessis, props to him. Kept the pressure on. Sean Strickland couldn't really do his normal fight, and after winning the first couple rounds, it's really hard for Sean Strickland to come back because he's not really known for putting people to sleep, taking people out, submitting people, or anything like that. He's usually a grindy decision fighter, and Dricus du Plessis kind of posed his will on him. Dominant performance, not really, but good performance for sure. Showed that he's the best, and congrats to Dricus du Plessis, unanimous decision win. So what is next going forward? The middleweight division. It's an exciting division, but I think everyone knows who Dricus du Plessis is fighting next, and that's Khamzat Chimaev. I think this is going to be a tough fight for Dricus. I know he seems to be wanting this fight because, there's a lot of hype on Khamzat. I know there's people are like, there's no way Dricus is going to be able to defend his takedowns. And guess what? I agree. I think Khamzat is going to take Dricus down, and I think Khamzat is going to destroy him. What's next for Sean Strickland? I think Sean Strickland needs to fix his nose for one, and I don't know how long it takes to recover from a broken nose. But there's another guy out who I think has a bit of an injury too, and maybe their timelines cross perfectly, and that's Robert Whittaker. He suffered that really nasty. We don't know if it was a broken jaw or just his teeth were messed up from his fight against Khamzat, but. I think both those guys are probably. It's time for them to meet in their career. I think it's inevitable that they fight eventually, and I think it's time. All right, there it is. UFC 312 recap in the bags. Thanks for watching, guys. Hey. If you guys got any kind of criticism to give me, leave it, please. I know I suck at this. I'm working on it. I don't know. I want to hear what you guys got to say. What do I need to work on? Probably not saying so much. Maybe looking at the camera more. Maybe being a little smarter and doing more research about this stuff because it's I think of all these things to say and then I record myself and I go and I forget. But anyways, regardless, thanks for watching, guys.